Let's talk about the tight. I want to go to the tight ends. We haven't talked about that in a while with you. We all recognized that. Plus, I want to mention you asked a question earlier, Les, about who was the biggest surprise. Well, you were out there. We were all out there Saturday. Troy, we're all sitting there. We actually made up about a third of the crowd. And when Curtis Marsh's name came up, everybody laughed and scoffed and guffawed and went, he couldn't play dead kind of statements. Why do you think he did get kept? Is it because he's a veteran presence back there as a backup?
You're talking about Marsh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they see him specifically for special teams, Woody, that he's got speed, the cover kicks, cover punts. Okay. Obviously, he had a bad game the other night, but if he's in on coverage, then something's probably gone wrong because he didn't show he's a coverage guy. He struggled in previous stops in the NFL, so it's not like he's a rookie where, you can say, oh, he's learning his craft. I mean, Marsh has been around a little bit, but he made it because he runs well, and they're really trying to get more athletic on their coverage team. That's the simple answer because he didn't make it based on his performance in coverage in that last game, obviously.
We all knew the Broncos didn't have enough at tight end, and we're now talking about depth again because Les, and I think you, whether you agree with Les or not, Les thinks that Owen Daniels is going to be an All-Pro again because of Peyton Manning. But they made the move. You both heard me ask Kubiak the question about if he was going to use offensive linemen at tight end. Does that concern you? Virgil Green was not very spectacular. Owens wasn't great, I thought, and we don't even know anything about the kid they signed. So is that a concern since this kind of offense depends a lot on tight ends?
Yeah, I'm not concerned with Owen Daniels. I mean, he was pacing himself in training camp. He was on the same plan as Peyton Manning, 3 practices on, 1 off. I'm not worried about Owen Daniels. He has a track record, and he'll get open. He knows this offense as well as outside of maybe Manning, Kubiak. Owen Daniels is an offensive coordinator on the field. He'll figure it out as long as he's healthy. Virgil Green has a transition to make because he has struggled in pass blocking. And I found it odd because he's such a great blocker, but when I went back and looked, he didn't do a lot of pass blocking in the last few years. When he was in the game, it was almost exclusively to run the football. So, Green has got an adjustment to make like other players on that offense. Mitchell Henry, the guy they got, is more kind of in the Owen Daniels type or receiving tight end. Who knows? They keep bringing him in and churning him out. Dan Light, Jake Murphy. This kid they liked. They almost signed in April, after around April, May, around the draft time. They liked him. So we'll see. But I'm not worried about Owen Daniels. He'll figure it out because he always has when he's been healthy.
Well, was it a mistake? I ask you point blank, was it a mistake to let Julius Thomas get out of here?
No, because he doesn't block, so he wouldn't function in this offense. You have to be able to run block and be the tight end in this offense. So if you keep Julius Thomas, then you'd have to just flex him out and use him almost exclusively as a receiver. I mean, Julius Thomas wasn't a blocker.
Good point.
He was basically just like Jimmy Graham, and that's a problem. And you can't pay him premium money if he doesn't fit your offensive scheme. I hope the best for Julius Thomas. I hope he has, gets healthy with that hand and has a big year, which will be a challenge with Bortles as his quarterback. But he didn't fit this offense. You can't overpay him and play him in a role, Woody, that he doesn't fit. You have to block in this offense. Even Shannon Sharp became a very functional blocker in this offense.
Well, Troy, not only that, they couldn't pay him that money because they don't trust that he'll stay healthy because they did question his toughness, and we're seeing it in Jacksonville already. Last question, Troy. A lot of debate about what 2 wide receivers are going to be playing out wide, who's going to be playing in the slot. I talked to Emmanuel Sanders in the locker room yesterday, and he said, we've got such a varied offense that guys are going to be moving in and out all the time. But I'll ask you, who do you think primarily will be the 2 outside guys? Who do you think will be primarily the slot guy?
Well, I think Emmanuel Sanders is going to start outside initially and then eventually move back into more of a slot role, which then would create openings for Jordan Norwood in the slot. He and Caldwell outplayed Latimer in the preseason. It's preseason, but when Gary Kubiak said a couple different times in press conferences he wanted to see Latimer step up and make plays, those are coaches' code words for you're not doing enough without criticizing the player. So you know, it is. These are fluid parts. They do move around, so it's not like it's set in stone. But the idea that Jordan Norwood and Caldwell see some snaps is very realistic. And remember, with Norwood, when he's in the slot, he functions almost like a Wes Welker type, that small guy underneath route. Plus, with Norwood, you can use him on reverses and different kind of misdirection stuff. So this is just a guess, but for me, you would see Norwood get a few more snaps than Caldwell, and Caldwell and Latimer probably have similar snaps. I hope Latimer figures it out. His athleticism's off the charts, but again, like with Sylvester Williams we talked about, the light bulb has to go on and stay on. It can't go on one play, one series, and then off for 3 or 4 series.
Thanks, Troy. This time we're saying goodbye permanently.
Bye, Troy.
Okay, don't call me back. I'm good. I'm turning my phone off.
All right.